Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sharon. So the year is 2023, and as I mentioned in my previous video, actually, the tech ecosystem is currently going through a lot of changes, a lot of uncomfortable changes, with so many layoffs and so many really unfortunate situations. Investors are pulling out, there's a lot of people looking for jobs, and there's not that many jobs in comparison to the number of people looking for those jobs. And I think a lot of people who are just at the beginning of their tech careers, be it either software engineers or UX designers, whatever field in tech, are probably wondering, should I still make this switch? Should I still be working towards becoming a product designer, a software engineer, whatever tech related field? And that's what today's video is about. I want to just give my 2 cents about whether it is still worth becoming a UX designer in this year or the next couple of years, because we don't know how long this phase is going to last. So of course, if this sounds like something that you're interested in, please do not forget to support me by liking, sharing, commenting, and of course subscribing to my channel. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. So long story short, personally, I do think that it is still worth getting into the tech market. There are still a lot of jobs, there are still a lot of opportunities. Now, they might not be as shiny and as exciting as some of the things that you probably heard, from big tech companies, in terms of compensation and all of that. It might not be that good anymore, but there are still a lot of really great opportunities, especially if this is something that you're, genuinely really interested in. There are definitely opportunities for you to explore. Of course, for today's video, I'm a product designer, so I'm going to be focusing on product design and some of the things that I think you should keep in mind if you are considering becoming a product designer in 2023. My first tip or thing to keep in mind is maybe don't invest in a boot camp just yet. So aside the layoffs and all of that, generally the economy is not in the best state. I don't think that this is the best time for you to use $10,000–$15,000 to invest in a boot camp at this time. There are a lot of things to take into consideration. One, of course, your personal savings, where you are financially, as well as just generally, like I mentioned, the state of the economy and how quickly you think you need to get a return on investment. If you need that money back ASAP, it might not be the best use of that money. Now, what I would advise instead is to go either like the self-taught way or to invest in courses that maybe don't cost as much. Maybe, for example, Coursera courses that cost maybe like $40 to $50 a month, and you can try to finish that in a shorter period of time. Now, of course, these might not be as effective as boot camps, so make sure you supplement with, seeking out mentors or seeking out people that you can connect with, community. Make sure you also supplement that with, a lot of practical experience. So don't be afraid to try out a new project. Just go out of your comfort zone and just try. But I personally do not think you should invest a lot of money in a boot camp at this time, given the state of the economy. Second thing to keep in mind, or the second tip, is to be patient and be persistent. If you're trying to become a UX designer, like I said, it's still worth it. It is still a path that I think is quite rewarding and has a lot of growth opportunities in the future. You do have to be persistent and patient in this economy. As I mentioned, there are a lot of people in the market currently looking for jobs. It's not as smooth as it was if you joined in a couple of years ago. So you do have to be very calculated with how you're spending your time, your effort, your resources, and also reassuring yourself that the economy is just rough and just going ahead with it. And so sending out applications, reaching out to people, connecting, networking, all of that good stuff. So now is the time for you to just know that you might have to try a little bit harder than the people that started a couple of years before you did. Third thing to keep in mind is you may have to do some free work or explore some side hustles or side projects rather, just based off of gaining some experience. This might be more crucial to your career now than it ever was a couple of years ago. So I think back then a lot of people could get away with, just having a simple portfolio and just applying and getting jobs. Right now, you might want to aim to have projects that are live, and you can do this by taking on free work. You might do this by collaborating with software engineers, other people in your field that could potentially bring your ideas to life if you're a product designer, or even better, if you have the skills to pursue that and to make it happen, then absolutely you can, you know, start building out projects that you think are a good use of your time and, you know, might open you up to even newer and better opportunities. Another thing to keep in mind is I would advise people to be generalists. Right now, like we know, it's a lot of crazy things happening in big tech, right? But there's small tech, and small tech is really smaller companies, smaller businesses that are profitable. You know, they can actually hire for these positions. However, like I said, they might not pay as much, and they might also require you to do a little bit of work that's like outside of the very typical product design focus areas. So you might end up doing some UX writing, you might end up doing some UX research, you might end up doing a little bit of graphic design here and there. You know, those are things that you kind of have to be prepared for at a particular point in your career. It might be a little bit more challenging, but it can also be fun, and just having a very generalized knowledge. So I wouldn't say now is the time to be like particularly focused on, oh, I'm a UX person, or oh, I'm a UI person. Now is the time to hone all of those skills and, you know, become as generalized as possible. Have a general group of skills that you can apply to any subset related to product design. Fifth thing to keep in mind is you have to take steps to stand out. I do have a previous video about how to stand out as somebody who's competing in this job market, but a quick overview of what that looks like is, you know, going the extra mile, having some personal branding, putting yourself out there, networking and all of that. And that ties into my other point about being patient and persistent. You cannot get away from that at this particular point in time. You have to try. The market is favoring people who don't give up. So you might see videos of people who are like, I applied for 500 jobs, I got 2 interviews and one of them clicked. It's rough, but it does happen and it does pay off. Now here's why I think product design or UX design is still a field that you should get into in 2023. It's one of those fields that is so easy for you to pivot. If, for example, at some point, let's say AI is able to do product design end to end, there is always going to be room for product leadership roles, or roles where you have to think strategically about products, and product design puts you in the perfect position to understand how to build a successful product. You get to interface with the metrics, you get to interface with the actual interface, you get to understand what makes a product a good product. So I do think that there's a lot of opportunity down the line in the future, regardless of how the economy, the market, the job situation changes up. And especially if you are very passionate about technology and about design, absolutely still go for it. Still position yourself in such a way that you can, you know, become part of this field and grow in your career. So if this was helpful for you, please do not forget to support me by liking, sharing, commenting, and of course subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.